Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. Today we will continue our topics in how to improve the Brayton cycle. So if in previous chapter we discussed the Brayton cycle with regeneration, now we continue with the Brayton cycle with intercooling. So this is the full schematic diagram of the Brayton cycle. So we already discussed in this part regeneration. Now we go to the intercooling. Okay, so before I proceed, I just want to let you know that the improving of Brayton cycle is the objective with the increasing thermal efficiency. So if we look at the formula of thermal efficiency, the formula is given as a W net over Q in. So by right, we have to increase the W net and we have to reduce Q in. Okay, so in our previous chapter or in our previous topic, we already do on how to reduce Q in by using regenerator. Now, our concentration is on how to increase W net. Okay, W net, we know WT minus WC. So, WT, we intend to increase the WT and reduce WC. So, how to reduce WC? So, in this topic, we discuss about reducing work of compressor by using intercooler. So, in this diagram, you can see we are using two compressors. Compressor 1, we call it as a low pressure compressor, and compressor number 2, we call it as a high pressure compressor. In between these two compressors, there are a component called intercooler. What is the function of intercooler? It is to reject Q to the surrounding, Q out. If I sketch the TS diagram, our concentration is at this part. 1 to 2 is low pressure compressor. 2 to 3 is intercooler. And 3 to 4 is compressor number 2 or high pressure compressor. Okay, this is, as I mentioned, the using of intercooler is to reduce work input at the compressor. Okay, this is how work input is reduced. So, if you look at this PV diagram, it is hard for me or maybe hard for you to understand. So, I try to make it simple. Okay, this is work input without using intercooler. Okay, so if work input without using an intercooler, I represent with one box and I color it with this shade, purple shade, and this shade represent work input. This is work input without intercooler. So if I'm using intercooler, it seems that I reject the heat by using intercooler here. Therefore, the area here will become like this. This is work input with intercooler. So you can see the differences between work input without intercooler, and if we use intercooler, the work input will reduce to this. Okay, this is on how we represent the compressors and intercooler with a TS diagram. 1 to 2 is low pressure compressor, and this is isentropic compression. 2 to 3 is intercooler, and the function of intercooler is to reject heat to the atmosphere, and it happen in the constant pressure. So in this constant pressure, we call it as a intercooling pressure or intermediate pressure. 3 to 4 is high pressure compressor, isentropic compression. So the total work of compressor now is smaller. Work of compressor, since we have two compressor, W12 represent work of compressor at high pressure compressor, and 1 at plus W34 represent work of compressor at at high pressure compressor. Okay, this is TS diagram of Brayton cycle with intercooling, and this is the schematic diagram. You just concentrating on this part when we discuss about Brayton cycle with intercooling. That's all. Thank you.